Wow, everyone, you're all here and it's 5 o'clock and we're going to start promptly. I'm so excited. And I'm just going to put on my other glasses, the better to see you with. Yay. And welcome to the Zoom event launch of the new Red Wheelbarrow. It's green this year. And there's Bing Zhang's incredible image on the back and Cynthia Brownvall's beautiful cover, which just keeps having more and more meaning to us the more we look at it. Different kinds. And she's going to be able to speak to us, but in the live version of the event. But I'll quickly do a tiny bit of slideshow for all of you. So I am going to see if I can put something in the chat for you, and then I'm going to ask Rob Pesich of Poetry San Jose just to say a few words. What I'm going to put in the chat is it's a kind of a program for today that it basically tells you the order. I think a lot of you received it as an email, but I want you to have it here. And it is for following along tonight. So in making sure the readers know who's next and who's first. And also, if you're just here to watch, you can sort of follow along with that. So let me find it and put it in the chat for you. Oh, it won't let me put in a PDF.
Okay, let me share.
Okay. I can put in this. Can I share? Oh, I can share the program, a PDF, or just share as a screen share. Well, what I'm going to do is put the program in as a. Oh, it won't let me put in anything. Can I put in files in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. It says administrative restrictions, so I'll let you figure that out. I can't give you the program quite yet, but we will just kind of start in. And yeah, I'm not allowed to do that. I'd like you to have a program. Nope, but I am not allowed to do that. So what I'll do is we'll get started some other way. I will share for you that very file. So now I think you can see, hopefully, the program. Maybe you could do a screenshot of it. Maybe I can find a way. A lot of you, I've sent this by email, but it shows you how we're starting out tonight. And it's supposed to start out with a reading by Bruce Weigel. I don't know if Bruce is in yet. Let's have a look and see. If he is in, it's really fantastic because he's in Vietnam, and it might be that he's coming later. I don't see him in yet. So we'll just wait and see if he shows up. So what about Harriet? Is Harriet here? Yay! So I think we will start out with Harriet Mullen reading, and Harriet will be introduced by one of our students, Sabrina Nguyen. So Sabrina, You can unmute yourself and you're spotlighted.
Oh, okay, awesome. Hi, I'm Sabrina Nguyen, and I have the honor of introducing the poet Harriet Mullen, who joins us from Los Angeles this evening. Her recent books include Regaining Unconsciousness from Grey Wolf Press, Open Leaves from Black Sunflowers Press, and before that, Urban Tumbleweed from Grey Wolf, where Harriet was already experimenting with the tonka forms we see in the poem we have published here in this year's Red Wheelbarrow, and all love so much. Of teen syllables, welcome and thank you for being here, Harriet.
Thank you for Sabrina, and thank you, Ken, for inviting me to be part of this. I'm going to read Urban Tumbleweed. No, I'm going to read Umpteen Syllables. It is a short poem in 5 parts, each inspired by an iconic Japanese poet. Umpteen Syllables. 1. Akiko's bedhead after Yosano's Midoregami. I wake up looking wild. My brush with boar's bristles should lay it all down. Oh, tangled, roughed up hair, what did we do last night? These morning after frizzles, coarse, rebellious, black, knotted, kinked, uncombed, disorderly, messy, like unsorted feelings, 1,001 threads of midnight, my undone hair, unruly thoughts, a thicket of untamed dreams entangled with you. 2. Shikisi's perfume, splashing cool fingers, her hand in running water, scented with flower, fruit, and leaf of the orange tree standing upstream. 3. Takuboku's complaint. Who can recall the name of that immortal dead poet? Each line of verse only brings us closer to the final word. 4. Issa asked the acrobat, where will you land if you fall from the net? Spider bouncing on your web. 5. Basho's frog returns to that old pond where only months ago it was a tadpole. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you, Harriet. Amazing poem. Hi, I'm Evelyn Yang, and I'm here to introduce one of my favorite poets in the book this year, Ellery Akers, the author of 4 poetry collections, the prize-winning A Door into the Wild from Blue Light Books, Swerve, Environmentalism, Feminism, and Resistance, and others including a children's novel, Sarah's Waterfall. Akers has won 13 writing awards and amazingly has also exhibited her art in museums and galleries nationally. Welcome, Ellery Akers.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to read a poem about drawing. Every week, I drew grasses in my sketchbook. This was the year the doctors cut into your back and took an inch, took another inch. You don't stiffen when I touch you there, but there are always 2 hollows, reminders. Melanoma returns, but I still have time to love you. I broke my wrist. The dog died. We had to move. But every week I noticed how beautiful the grasses were with their little thimbles of wind. Needlegrass, oatgrass, deergrass, brome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ellery. Hi, I'm Christopher Lowe. I'm happy to be introducing the poet Barbara Bloom. Barbara has lived in Santa Cruz for the last 45 years, attended UCSC, and is teaching English and creative writing at Cabrillo College. She has published 3 books of poetry, On the Water Meridian and Pulling Down the Heavens, both with Hummingbird Press, and most recently, Missing Orion, Shanty Arts Press. She now lives in Bellingham, Washington, among swords, ferns, lakes, and tall conifers. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ken, for letting me be a part of this. The poem I'm going to read is called Sheet Music. Our daughter wasn't even a year old when Frank left. I saw him last when he came over much later to collect a trunk of sheet music left behind after his hasty exit. There was a soccer game on the playing field as I walked him out to his car, and kids in bright shorts were running and shouting. The perfect blue of Monterey Bay stretched out below the town, and an offshore breeze tugged at my skirt. I held my daughter's hand as he pried open the rusted lid of the trunk, more interested in its contents than in us. How could you have left us? I wanted to say. How could you do that? Suddenly, hundreds of carpenter ants rushed from the crumbling, ruined pages of his music, carrying their eggs in their mouths.
All right. Thank you thank you for that, Barbara. I think we're getting, yeah, our virtual rounds of applause are coming in for Barbara. Uh, give it up. And hello, everyone. My name is David Perez, and I was one of the screeners for the Red Wheelbarrow Poetry Prize. And at this point, I am really happy to introduce our next poet, the Oakland poet, Rose Black. So Rose is the author of 3 books of poems. These are Clearing, Winter Light, and Green Fields. Rose is a contributing editor for Red Wheelbarrow who specializes in soliciting and publishing the work of incarcerated writers. And this work is, of course, an incredible gift to our magazine. So please offer a warm welcome to Rose Black.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, this first poem is by a poet called, whose name is Corey Risset. And the last we heard, he was at the California Correctional Institution at Tehachapi, California. And this poem is on page 171. It's called Eyesight. Eyes open, steel, concrete, barbed wire, electric fence. Eyes closed, steel, concrete, barbed wired, electric fence. Eyes open, identifying people at a distance from their walk. Eyes closed, identified people from the sound of their voice. Eyes open, snow-covered yard, freezing my black ass off. I'm more tropical. Eyes closed, it is snowing, I'm shaking. Nothing I do seems to warm me up. Eyes open, what a picture. Such a beautiful woman, natural, makeup free. Eyes closed, off to dream world, searching for a dream lover. Eyes open, 5 feet from a guy getting stabbed 82 times. All I can do is watch. Eyes closed, sweating, running, being chased by wolves. Wake up! Eyes open, my face, neck, chest, and back are covered with sweat. Eyes closed, but I can no longer find peace. Sleep evades me. I'd now like to introduce my friend and colleague, Linda Blackstone, who also mentors inmates at California state prisons.
Hello. I'll be reading a poem by Ubaldo Teke Jr., a prisoner at California Medical Facility in Vacaville, California. The poem is on page 158. It's called Mesoamerican Love Story for Juana Arzate Teke. Your spiderweb voice breaks off the civil war within me. Streets, alleys, and chaos disappear. Your warm embrace takes me where the trees and plants speak to one another. A red rose rests on the left side of your wavy cinnamon hair. Your bare feet breeze by the branches and celebrate freedom dancing. Earth thumps to your step. To have a taste of your crimson lips. To the east, our ancestors gaze at our mistakes, sorrows, and joys.
Thank you. Okay, this next poem is mine. It's on page 26. It's called Goodbye Stoneyard, My Home. Inside the stone is a stoneyard where my lover carves black granite mountains. I carve the low tide and new moon. In the mud, we find milk and green pennies. In the tar of the roof, wild radish, white stars. In the garden, gray lizards, dark shadows. Inside the stoneyard, inside the stone. Goodbye, home of north, south, east, and west. Portuguese mountain dogs, Pedro and Champ. Goodbye, back fence, damaged by fire, and the corner rimmed with black bamboo. Goodbye, what we planted, what we made. 5 redwoods, Moore Park apricot, a field of red poppies, lemon tree, leaves dark green in morning sun. Goodbye, Jasmine Gate, flowering almond with roots coming up through the street. Goodbye, cottage, stone shop, pot-bellied stove, shipping container, blue steel. Goodbye, railroad tracks, pallets of stone, Carrara Bianco, Rosa Aurora, silver cloud, tiger eye, purple bee. Goodbye, Senri from Japan, sculptor of fountains, giant spheres and eggs the size of horses. Goodbye, sculptor Zulema from Argentina and Daughters of the Nile. 5 faces, stolen daughters, river journey. Goodbye, Shiffy from the Marxist kibbutz, carving cosmic swirls behind a blue curtain of stars. Goodbye, purple fence of passion vine beside our 4 neighbors. Mario with his rooster, his flock of white chickens. Wanda singing soul Thursday night at Sweet Jimmy's. Big Bob, the friendly Hell's Angel. Henno, whose Rottweiler dug a tunnel right into our yard. Goodbye, stoneyard and stones, sent by stars billions of years ago, lifted from the hearts of mountains, from the beds of ancient oceans. Goodbye, stoneyard, my home. Thank you.
Wow. I need to jump in here while we're applauding. I know that Cindy's about to introduce Francesca, but Francesca has a migraine and couldn't make it. So I don't know if Cindy knows that.
Hello.
So I'm going to take this opportunity then to just, first of all, acknowledge Rose and Linda, the work they're doing with incarcerated writers. And I saw that home a couple times that Rose just wrote about. She really left that stone yard and that life. And that is a great Oakland poem and a beautiful elegy for a place and a life. And all these things are yours if you just get our magazine. And if you look in the chat right now, you can see a website where the magazine should be downloadable. So you can actually go in there and click on the magazine and get the PDF in a reduced size format. And that means that when people say a page number or when you want to go revisit a poem, you can do so. And of course, the book itself is something that you can always just email me for a copy and ask me about ordering instructions, because it's not worth spending our time or pretending it's easy to tell you how to get the book, but it's available locally and through me in this email I'm putting here in the chat. It's available as many copies as you want by mail. So what I wanted to do, since we're strangely enough a little ahead of schedule, and that Francesca is unable to join us, is I wanted to quickly share some of the art. Is Francesca here? She's the poet laureate of Marin County, so I know some of you were looking forward to hearing her incredible work. But anybody who's had migraines before know that that's not going to happen. So what I'll do is I just want to show you the magazine as a PDF for a couple minutes so that you can see the art, because the artists are all coming to the in-person event. And so you're not going to get a chance to meet the artists. And one of the things that I've enjoyed so much over the years is distilling what I do with the magazine into being kind of an art and poetry magazine with some interviews and nonfiction, but worked away from fiction to art and poetry. And meeting 5, 6 local artists, regional artists every year has been one of the big treats of the whole event. So what I'll do is I'm going to go to what the full screen mode here. And then hopefully, can you see that? And is that looking kind of classy? And then I think what I can do is just write, like page numbers. And I want to take you through the book quickly. So for example, this is the frontispiece. Are you seeing that well? That is Cynthia Brownval, who works at our sister college, Foothill. She'll be here tonight at our party. And it's still time for you to drive over. Maybe some of you are on the East Coast. It won't happen. But so she's been doing these kind of resin beeswax blouses and things of incredible activists. They stand in the museum a couple feet tall, and they just make you know and feel the life of 100, 200 years ago in ways that are so mysterious. She also did our cover, so you've seen that the other kinds of work she does. So this is the content of this magazine. It has which you can now download by going to that website. There's the 9th Annual Poetry Prize. And the second half of our online reading, we have the incredible winners of the prize and finalists and semifinalists. And then an interview with Gary Young, who does a broadside of the winner every year and is a sensational prose poet who lives in the area here. And then this art from Cynthia Tony May, who'll join us tonight, George Rivera, Flo Oi Wong, Bing Zhang. And what I thought I would do with a minute is and then we have this unbelievable staff, students, you'll meet some of them tonight. Our prize judge, Stephen Casisto, drops in later. Our screeners. And so in a way, this is their night. And of course, it's also your night. We did dedicate the magazine to 3 local poets who passed away. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I'm 70 now and retiring myself. So why should I be surprised that those I love are beginning to pass? And we're honoring all 3 of these incredible poets tonight. And also in the dedication, this is an example of the work of Bing Zhang, whose work is also featured. So whenever we feature an artist, we're featuring that artist with what I call a folio, or a kind of a selection of their work. And so, for example, I'll just show you one more minute. I'll show you some of the work, and we'll get back to the reading. You can see here This is very large, 3, 4 foot canvases, drawings in many cases like that one. I just find that gorgeous. I don't know about you. And also paintings that have that realistic style. And she actually went to Anza as a student and is a re-entry student. She also does this kind of work. I should have it on 2-page view because the other side of the page shows people on their phones at the beach. It's very funny. And this is a COVID one that you need to see both sides. This was part of our cover art. That's a painting. I showed it to a dear friend who's an artist herself, and she said, "Great photograph." And I had to say, "No, it's a painting." So Bing Zhang is remarkable. So I hope you'll download the book and be able to enjoy it, not just for the amazing poetry, but also for the art. I should probably leave it at that so we can get back to the event. And I will stop the share, but there are 5 artists in here, including art from a Oaxacan prison. And there's a chance that the woman who works with those prisoners on art will show up tonight, but I don't think so. So next on the list actually was going to be Gabe. Is Gabe here?
Yes, I am.
You can do your introduction. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm sure we would have all loved to hear Francesca's, own words on her work, but we still want to thank her for her contributions to the Red Wheelbarrow. Hi, I'm Gabe Hernandez, and I'm very happy to be introducing Ralph James Severse of Iowa City. Ralph is an author of 3 books of prose and 4 books of poetry, and his most recent collection is Never Make Them Cry, Classroom and Coffins. Please offer a warm welcome to Ralph James Severse.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone. Ken, I really am happy to be included in this event and in Red Wheelbarrow, which I just think is an amazing, amazing thing. So kudos to everyone. I'm going to read a poem called Names, and I'll just say that I've always disliked my first name. I've moved away from detest and to dislike, but that's what this poem is called. So one sec. All right. Names. My father insisted that I, his firstborn son, be named after him. My mother hated the name Ralph almost as much as she would come to hate him, and used my middle name, James, the name that she preferred, to register her descent. She so loved this name that she gave it to my brother. People would always ask if his middle name was Ralph. It's Edward. Ralph comes from Old Norse, meaning counsel and wolf, which is perfect for my litigator father. After reading a book I'd published, a judge for the Federal Trade Commission wrote to say that he was the meanest man he'd ever met, but also the smartest. In slang, Ralph means dick and vomit. Once, when I was in the 8th grade, my English teacher wrote the following sentence on the blackboard: Ralph Ralphed all over his Ralph. He thought he was being funny. Middle school is like riding in a balloon that always crashes. Perhaps my mother knew that in Hebrew, James meant replacer or supplanter. It also means may God protect. Perhaps my father was jealous of me, and by naming me Ralph, thought he could command her attention. If people called the house and asked for Ralph, my mother would say, big or little. My father stands 6'4". I'd make it to 5'10". As in boxing, the difference mattered. When my wife and I began the process of adopting our son from foster care, I asked the caseworker what the J in DJ stood for. James, she replied, and I grinned. But she was mistaken. It was John. Can I be forgiven for requesting a change at the final hearing? It was an act of vanity, yes, but also a vow. I would keep the boy safe and do everything in my power He's a writer now. To have him supplant me. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Thanks so much, Ralph. Thanks so much, Ralph James Severies, all the way from Iowa. We love your poems, all of them, and there are 3 or 4 in the book. I'm here now to welcome, I believe from Puebla, Mexico, Gabriela Gutierrez Imus, although she lives and works in Seattle. And she is there she is, yay. So this is international now. A poet, literary critic, writer, professor, and friend and supporter of many poets, comadres, and young people. She's published, authored, and or edited 18 books, and her memoir, Fresh as Lettuce, Fresca como una lechuga, is forthcoming. Please welcome the wonderful Gabriela Gutierrez Imus. Por favor, den la bienvenida a la maravillosa Gabriela Gutierrez Imus. Oh, she froze. I think she froze. Come back, Gabriela. You just froze from Puebla. But when you unfreeze, we'll be here for you. She's probably. Oh, Ellery, I don't know. Do you read Spanish? So Gabriela's worked on poems that are completely. She left.
She left.
Oh, she'll come back. She'll come back, and she's been introduced. So she's working on poems now that are in the book that are utterly bilingual. In other words, the line in English, line in Spanish. So you're getting the translation and the poem at the same time into English, into Spanish, depending how you look at it. But maybe for now we should move on if she's not back. Is she back?
She's not even reading.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go on then. And is Margot here? No. So let's go on. And that would be to is T here to introduce? Thank you. Oh, she's back in the room, David says.
Oh, she's back?
I don't see her though.
I don't see her.
It's Gabriela Gutierrez Imus. I don't know where you see her, David. Okay, so go ahead, T. Oh, we can't hear you. Are you can you be are you muted? We are in Zoom, so these things happen.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
That did it.
Okay, great. So, hello everybody, my name's T. Lee, and I'm here to introduce the poet James McCorkle. James is the author of Evidences, The Subtle Bodies, and In Time, and next year, award-winning 7 Cycles, which is due out from Omnidon in spring 2027. He directs the African Studies program at Hobart and William Smith Colleges in upstate New York. Welcome, James.
Hi, how's everyone? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, T. Thank you, Ken, for inviting me. Lots of familiar faces. So this is a poem, Morning Warbler. It's for Christian Cooper. He was harassed for birding while black in Central Park a few years ago. So here it goes. The first line is a quote from Christian, actually. They are skulkers. They stay close to the ground, hidden in the shrubs, typically. One of the last warblers to come through in the migration. yellow underside, gray hood, olive topside, males with a black bib, late May's arrival in rambled thickets, berry copses, scrambles on pink legs. The morning sky is bare and blue, not a single cloud. Winters across the once and now colonies from Belize to Puerto Rico listed as least concern. But what is that? And how determined when a third are gone? Ground nesting, sweet braids, bark and grass. No wonder they love the ramble, to loiter and sing, loaf, no vagrant, though its habits may be. Vagary, Latin, to wander, lonely as a cloud. Vulca, Old Norse, wander, walk, invite my soul. Linger on the grass, echoing green. Radars in May nights caught the clouds, waves of migrants riding thermal flows north across borders of habitat change. The morning blazings, when this began, we hardly noticed. The summer is sooner, or there always anomalies. Days like this when someone complains, and then to say it's a misunderstanding, a mistake, to take by accident or training what is not. A dog charges into a thicket. How long can you go without breathing? The sky is like a pool overhead, blazing in its cloud eye, sweeps the green fields and lawns of errancy, weeding fence lines, hedgerows, ditches of asters, chicory, ragweed, commonly found anywhere here. Titanitis, surge of insects in the heated air, goldfinches as sunbursts, and for this moment, as that is all that is humanly possible, I need to be only suddenly here, breathing in time, part of it all. Thank you.
Well, you're back, Gabriella. So we can't. Uh-oh. Every time she smiles, she goes away. I don't know. It's it's through the looking glass. Go ahead and read quick before you go away.
She might want to turn off her.
You could turn off your video if you want to make sure you can read, because sometimes it's the
Okay.
if you don't have a good connection.
Yeah, so how can I do that? Down here, video. Okay. Can I read one or two?
You should read one and let me look at the time and we'll figure it out.
Okay. This is our aquarium, nuestro acuario, and my poems are fully bilingual. Nuestro acuario es transparente, el tuyo no lo es. Our aquarium is transparent, yours is not. My friend, the tall-making lady at Carnitas, Michoacan, in the corner of the sun, outside. I know see your small mirror borrowed from another detector and wonder. Michoacán en la esquina del sol afuera. Sé que ves tu pequeño espejo prestado por otra madre detenida y te preguntas, how clear her aquarium will really be after 5 generations of fish in your family. How big will your daughter's mirror be? How clear the image, how small her highlights. I know you see your small mirror. ¿Qué tan grande será el espejo de tu hija? ¿Qué tan clara su imagen? ¿Qué tan pequeños sus reflejos? ¿Qué tan limpio su acuario será de verdad después de 5 generaciones de peces en la familia? That's one. Am I done? I
Well,
want to thank Ken before I leave for diversifying poetry in the Central Coast and all over California. He's been supporting my work for 30 years. I am so grateful and I'm so happy at the community he has built.
well, your audio's not the best, but we are.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No, but we are ahead of schedule. So why don't you just give it a try?
Telegram. I will send you a telegram to the owners of love, the squirrels, dogs, babies, and orangutans who know not how to read or write. The equivalent planting carrots on concrete. I will send a telegram simply for the noise the telegrapher makes while it taps my message. Let's make love simply for the pleasure of knowing the sounds we mouth. The product is love. Let's plant carrots on concrete because intention matters. Let it for the pleasure of sending, hearing it. I will just read the English for that one. Thank you so much. It's great to read. I hope you hear that one.
Yeah, well, the connection could have been better, but the human being and the poet is the tops. So thank you, Gabriela. And then I believe the T is on for an introduction. So that was Gabriela, so we fit her in again.
Okay. Thank you, Gabriella, for reading out your poem. I'm back again to introduce the next poet. I'd like to welcome poet Partridge Boswell. Partridge is the author of the 2023 Fool for Poetry Prize-winning chapbook Levi's Corner House and the Grolier Poetry Prize-winning collection Some Far Country. Recipient of the inaugural Red Wheelbarrow Prize, selected by Ellen Bass, Partridge troubadours widely with the poetry/music group Los Lorcas, most recently through Ireland in 2025. And they've released 2 albums. Welcome, Partridge.
Thanks very much for that kind introduction, T. And it's wonderful to be here with you, to put it mildly. Mazel tov, Ken. And here's to you and all your students who carry the Red Wheelbarrow flame forward. And, just want to echo my deepest thanks for your steadfast support over the years. And ever since that autumn day, you called to tell me that Ellen had selected my poem for the first prize, which proved to be a massive catalyst for me and my writing. So cheers. Thank you. Here's that poem. Ghosting by Gaslight. Cobbled streets flicker in midnight mist. Fine. Be a hypocrite. The new world is full of contradiction as the old, and you're a headlight, dear. Just be honest. Tell the truth until the next fad vernacular wades ashore and plants a flag to flap and fade on the beach. Is it safe to be recording this while you're driving? The Uber student parallel parking and Amazon van beeping back down the ages. The freshly painted crosswalk ahead reflecting your solitary refinement. Kindness is penance, a kind of penny sadness. Wouldn't you rather relax on your deck overlooking the canyon, lolling in cricket song, sipping the golden cider of your idle letting go to the leaves? I have to be careful what I say with the trees listening, erasing a million cells of what wasn't is until recently. Listen to me or keep your earbuds in bloom. I'm a spot-on lip reader's cold sore. Where your mind goes is your own LLC. Silence is the hardest song. No whammy bar to bend or moan. Drink the flickering moon while you can. Don't rue. I'll get back to you.
All right. Am I ready to go? Nope. Is that too loud? Oh, sorry. Get it. Great.
Yes.
All right. Hello, everybody. And thank you, Partridge. That was great. And it was lovely to see you again. My name is Cindy White, and I am here to introduce Grace Lee, who is traveling in China, but we're told we will be able to make contact with her, where it's tomorrow morning for her right now. Grace Lee began her life in poetry in Ken Weisner's Introduction to Creative Writing class at Anza College in 2014. Since then, she has earned a BA in English at UCLA, an MFA in poetry at SDSU, and is currently a PhD student in literature and creative critical writing at UC Santa Cruz. Grace always says she spends too much time playing music and looking at the ocean. How is that possible? Welcome, Grace Lee.
Hi, thank you for that introduction, Cindy. It's nice to see you all at the Anza where I used to go. Yeah, and hi from China. I'm going to read the poem I translated that's gonna be is published in Red Wheelbarrow. I guess I'll read it in Chinese first. Hopefully you can hear me. I'll try to read it as best I can. So this poem in Chinese is called Po Lo Men Ling, and it's by a poet from the Song Dynasty called Liu Yong. So here it is in Chinese. 昨宵里嫩何一睡，今宵里又嫩何一睡。小影归来，出更过，醺醺醉。中夜后何事还惊奇？霜天冷，风淅淅。出书窗，闪闪灯摇曳。空床辗转中，最想云与梦。认清真难题，寸金万须，咫尺千里。好景良天彼此，空有相连意，未有相连迹。So here it is in my translation. Last night I slept in my clothes. Tonight I sleep in these clothes again. After a bit of drink, returning at the sound of the first gong past nightfall, drunk and light-headed. After midnight, what stirs me awake? The chill of frost, a light wind taps at my window, swaying the flickering lamp's flame. In an empty bed, I toss and turn after another memory. dreams of being mingled with you like rain and clouds, but leaning into the pillow, I cannot follow. My inch-sized heart spans 10,000 thoughts. A few feet might as well be 1,000 miles. Great days, beautiful sights, you, me. These feelings we have are pointless. We don't have the will to be together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. Our next poet will be Patrice Vecchioni. Patrice is the author of 2 collections of poetry, 3 nonfiction books, and is the editor of many anthologies. Patrice is the poet in schools for the Carl Cherry High School Poetry Program for Monterey County, a visual artist also. Her inspiring new collage work, The Guardians, will also be on view at Sweet Alina's Bakery in Sand City from April 1st to May 31st, where you can also get amazing muffins. Welcome, Patrice Vecchioni.
Go for the muffins and the scones and the croissants. Thank you for the intro. Said the feet to the socks. Your softness comforts us. Said the feet and the socks to the shoes. You hold us just close enough. Said the feet, the socks, and the shoes to the earth. Never once have you run out on us. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrice. That brings back many memories of working with you you were my master for being a poet in the schools, and my whole life I've been grateful for how you taught me that.
Thanks, Kim.
Allowed me to do it with you.
Thank you.
Even the poem you shared today has a little feeling of the joy of childhood in it. So I'm here for a transitional moment then into the second half of our reading, which is toward the incredible poets of our poetry prize. And is Judge Casisto available already in the room? And so I will introduce our judge from the Poetry Prize. As I work toward retirement, and a wonderful colleague of mine is going to continue the magazine, and then Rob, and they will continue the prize. So we'll have our 10th annual prize next year. But this was the 9th annual prize, and great fun. And the winner gets a beautiful broadside designed by Gary Young. Plus, we have cash awards. And this time we had the honor and pleasure of Stephen Casisto being our judge. And Stephen has agreed to announce the winners. And I'm just going to introduce him. Besides the fact that he's a dear person and friend, and it's fun to see him even in Zoom. He holds a university professorship. You can tell what the Mets jacket he's wearing that he's a very important person. He has a university professorship at Syracuse where he teaches across multiple disciplines. I think he has a lot of fun doing that, and serves as a director of the Burton Blatt Institute's interdisciplinary programs. He's the author of the memoirs Planet of the Blind, and also, which is a great book to everyone should read, and then Eavesdropping, a memoir of blindness and listening. Have Dog Will Travel, A Poet's Journey, which I had my students read, and he came to the class. And his previous collections of poems include Only Bread, Only Light, Letters to Borges, and Old Horse, What Is to Be Done? And his latest book, Close Escapes, has been published by Copper Canyon this year. So, Judge Casisto, thank you for being here and doing the judging.
Thank you all for having me. It was hit and miss. I had the wrong Zoom link,
And I tried to call Ken and I tried to text him. And eventually I realized that I was clicking on a Zoom link that Ken had sent me from 3 years ago. Uh, so I'm so relieved to be here. Um, so I had the privilege of reading and judging this year's Poetry Prize winning writers, and that was really a moving experience for me. I have to say that the poetry that I read was really so nuanced and thoughtful and soulful and sharp. I really felt I felt the gift of being able to live among these poets and their poems. It was hard to choose, but as with so many things, I trust that everyone here will feel the continued joy and radiance of writing. So, the poem Once Opened by Melissa McKinstry was my third place choice. And let me just say that Melissa McKinstry hosts quarterly poetry and jazz evenings and curates a community poet tree in San Diego. I wish I lived in San Diego. Her poetry appears or is forthcoming in many journals, including Beloit, Adroit, Narrative, and Best New Poets 2023 and 2025, and was selected for the 2025 New Ohio Review Literary Prize and a 2026 Pushcart Prize. This is, as they say in the vernacular, high cotton. An adroit Janikian scholar and the inaugural writer in residence at the Malay House, Rockland. She currently serves on the Alumni Council for Pacific University's MFA program and the board of the Malay House, Rockland. And you can visit her at melissamckinstry.com. And I just want to say that Once Opened is a poem about consciousness with a touch of William Blake in the best way. It's sweet, urgent, dark, and wholly original. Melissa.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Stephen. And it's so wonderful to share a screen with you. I also want to express gratitude to Ken and Rob and the students at Anza College who, in their generosity of spirit, continue to lift up poets and poetry in such a wonderful way. So this poem is an ekphrastic after a painting by my dear friend Liz Kallick, who is a visual artist in Mid-Coast, Maine. I met her while I was in residency at the Malay House, and I've written a series of poems in response to her paintings, and this is one of them. Once Opened. Can we ever fully close? Ask the egg, the womb, the moon, the wound. Isn't the rush of knowing sharp and keen? Face to face with the newborn's gaze, we're also in the grace of hospice, suspended between the swell of sweet pea pods and their papery curl of husks, listening to the waning chorus, the echo of blue-gray in the glacier's crevasse. Ask any mourner, any mother, ask me. Thank you.
It's a wonderful poem.
Thank you, Stephen.
It really is. So the second place winner is Motherlode by Michelle Parker Randall, who is the author of Museum of Everyday Life and A Future Unmappable, which are both really great titles.
Her works can also be found in Atlanta Review, Bellevue Literary Review, Poetica Review, Swim, and elsewhere. She feels strongly that embracing work by and about the neurodivergent will lessen the stigma surrounding mental illness. I wrote, Mother Lode, some poets employ the word imagination without knowing what it is. This poem is richly imaginative, fresh, strange, and beautiful. So I am really honored to pass the microphone, the Zoomophone, to Michelle.
Thank you, Steve. I think you just coined a new word, the Zoomophone. I like that very much. Motherlode. Imagination turns spiders into upturned hands, grasping green the color of just opening leaves on a red maple. The morning wind tidal, rushing in and back, pushing sand and pollen across a concrete pool deck. The pool an ocean. I hung upside down, knees hooked over thick, swaying branches 25 feet skyward. Imagination turned spiders into tactical machines, all hinged elbows and ankles, bolts and gears screaming for oil. They spy on the girl who is not upright, whose friend drifts near, tan and black, furred, speaking in coded yips. Who can call it folly to conjure worlds that exist within us? Imagination, a pulsing, winding vein, or we mine and mine. The upside of looking at the world flipped, the loosing of masks, thoughts of what would people think. The unfinished atlas underneath my skin, each sky, every tree revered, and a pull to climb again, climb tonight. Count meteors and pick which comet to inhabit next.
Mm. Ken and I once took a class from a Chinese poet who walked out of China and found himself in Iowa City. And he used to read amazing Chinese poems and then translate them for us. And then he would say, ah, that is too great. That is a really great poem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The first place poem is Veer by Emily Pease. Emily W. Pease is a poet and fiction writer who lives in Williamsburg, Virginia, where she taught writing at William and Mary for many years. She is the 2025 winner of the William Matthews Poetry Prize at the Asheville Poetry Review. Her poems appear in Juniper, Litmosphere 1, the Florida Review, and Rattle. And then it says Ekphrastic Challenge, June 2021. I think they had an ekphrastic bake-off. Her chapbook, Long for This World, was awarded the 2026 New Women's Voices Prize at Finishing Line Press. Her collection of short stories, Let Me Out Here, which is a great title, won the C. Michael Curtis Short Story Book Award at Hub City Press in 2018. She holds an MFA from the Warren Wilson MFA program for writers. I wrote, Veer is a lyric that extends emotional candor with constructive grief, as Robert Bly might have put it. It's both sorrowful and joyous because the poet is in firm control of the music. So I give you our first place winner, Emily Pease.
Thank you, Stephen. And I now want to be your best. Am I working? Sorry. Is my audio working? Okay, I'll get started. Thank you, Stephen. And as I was saying, I want to be your new best friend.
Thank you to all the students at this wonderful college, and may you continue to support writing and poetry. I believe in you, and I believe that you're our future. Thank you for Red Wheelbarrow, and all my fellow poets. So this poem is called Veer. My mother said, remember, cigarette tucked between two fingers, remember who you are. 1940s Hepburn, thin smoke browning her nails. Remember who you are. Again, again. But who I wasn't sure. When she lifted her knees, pushed to let me go, did she know? Infant daughter, birth bruised. Years later, I climbed to the roof, met stars, because it is hard to know who you are, who you're not. Outside in the dark, my cat's red eyes, feline stepping over leaves. She knew who she was, not me yet. In the morning, shaving, my father seemed sure. Hummed hymns, tacked prophylactics behind the headboard. Finding one, I went straight to the dictionary in order to know how one small package gapes open a door. Remember who you are, my mother said each day when I left the house for school, meaning don't veer too far. Something to do with family. In art class, our teacher stepped one foot on a chair, mounted his desk. Short, stout, bearded, first name Dean, hand tucked inside his coat, renamed Napoleon. What he did not say, I'm gay. We all knew anyway who he was, who he was not, how he drove to school in his top-down Impala, thin hair lifting from his scalp. In class, he liked to say, when you draw a line, don't be shy.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. That's wonderful. Just a wonderful poem. And what a privilege it was to hear you read it. And thank you so much. I wish we were neighbors.
Me too.
Uh, so now it is my privilege to introduce Gary Young. Or am I jumping the gun?
Oh, you're good. You're good. This is it.
This is it. This is it. The night of nights. It's really an honor to introduce Gary Young, whose work I've loved for years, and I wish he was my neighbor as well. Um, this is what happens to you when you live in Syracuse, you have neighbor envy, Um, Gary Young is the author of several collections of poetry. His most recent books are American Analects and That's What I Thought, winner of the Lexi Rudnitsky Editor's Choice Award from Persea Books, and Precious Mirror, translations from the Japanese. His books include Even So, new and selected poems, Pleasure, No Other Life, winner of the William Carlos Williams Award, Braver Deeds, winner of the Peregrine Smith Poetry Prize, The Dream of a Moral Life, which won the James D. Phelan Award, and Hands. He has received a Pushcart Prize and grants from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Remember when we had one of those? National Endowment for the Arts, the California Arts Council, and the Vogelstein Foundation, among others. In 2009, he received the Shelley Memorial Award from the Poetry Society of America, and Gary directs the Cowl Press at UC Santa Cruz. And it's a real pleasure to be able to hand the Zoomophone over to Gary Young.
And Gary, before you start, can I show something?
Of course.
I want to show the broadside you made for Emily. Can you all see
Yeah.
it? So describe
It's
that.
fabulous.
So, it's such a great thing to have a master printer as your neighbor. Speaking of neighbors, Steve, and maybe you could describe a little bit about that wild font you used for the title and what you did here.
Well, in all of the broadsides that I've printed so far for the contest, I always, as a poet and a printer, I always try to remember that the poem is the important thing, the primacy of the
Right,
poem.
right.
And so, but then I try to find an equivalence with typography, sometimes also with illustration. And in this particular poem, it was long enough. I didn't want to clot it up with anything. So I tried to think of how I could throw in a little something typographic that would somehow answer or speak to the poem. I have a very large collection of 19th century wood type. And I remembered seeing this in the back of a very large case. And I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. Because the type, to me, looks like it's veering out of the way. It's from 1870, so it's a 150-year-old type, wood type. And I don't remember ever seeing any other type that slants left rather than right. Maybe it was
Right.
designed by a left-handed typographer. I don't know. But and then the color, which doesn't come up perfectly in the photo, but I wanted to get a red that would connotate in some way, or at least echo the lipstick, the mother's lipstick, and also conjure
Yeah.
up a little bit of danger. That's just like, oh, look out, watch out where you're going. There could be trouble ahead. So,
How fun.
congratulations, Emily. I loved working with your poem very much.
Yeah.
It shows.
And a very nice signature too at the bottom there.
Gary, I'm so flattered. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I love the red, the danger, like my mom.
Well, good. That's sort of what I was going for. I'm glad you you think it hit.
She had lots of scary advice.
Well, you know what Lou Reed said? You can't always trust your mother.
Well, she lives on in me for sure. Thank you, Gary, so much.
Well, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Ken, you want me to read my little poem?
Yeah. Don't you think it's one of the cool things about our prize is that Gary does those broadsides? Woof, boy. Best thing in the world.
So this
Except
is
now the third and second place winners are jealous as hell, though. I think maybe you could do them one on your spare time.
well, now that I'm retired.
Ooh.
Well, semi-retired. I retired and then I was called back. I got to retire for about 4 months. And now I'm back teaching again. I'm sure that I learned my lesson.
Can I say very quickly, I've done letterpress myself, WordPress, letterpress, and I appreciate how difficult it is.
Yeah, it's an addiction, as you probably know. The ink, the smell, the tactility. I've been doing it for a long, long time, over half a century. So I
And
haven't gotten tired of it yet.
that is what Gary teaches. So he teaches at Cal Press on a beautiful at UC Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I retired from the poetry department, but then they called me back and said, "No, you got to keep teaching the letterpress." So, and this is one of the things I get to do. So this is fantastic. I wanted, before I read this poem, to encourage you all to read the. Well, first to thank Ken and to encourage you to read the interview that he and I did. He makes me sound smarter than I am, and so I'm very, very thrilled with this, and hope you'll take the time to at least peek at it. So the poem of mine that is in the issue is untitled, a prose poem, as all my poems are. So I'll just jump right in. Hiking a hill above Pigeon Point, we passed lupin, starry flax, and blue-eyed grass, then bindweed, monkey flowers, and wild iris as we climbed higher. The summit was covered with checker bloom and puffs of white yarrow waving on their stalks. We looked down on the lighthouse at Whaler's Cove, and on the open sea that lay beyond, a dozen whales were spouting, their hot breath hanging in the air. The hillside was a spring bouquet, and the sea itself was in bloom.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well, thank you, Stephen. I am a huge fan of your work, and so to meet you at last, even if on the Zoom here, is quite an honor for me. So,
Oh, well,
great
thank you. Right
to meet
back.
you in person.
Right,
So
right back at you.
Well, I think that Nico now introduces our next reader. I believe so, anyway.
Thank you, Gary, Steve, and all the 2025 prize winners. My name is Nico Cepetto, and we'll be concluding our Zoom launch event this year by hearing the 5 finalists and the 3 selected semi-finalist poems from the 2025 Poetry Prize. Finalist Lee Verone is a social worker and writer. Her latest poetry collection, The Last Bed, was published in 2024. She is the author of 2 children's books, My Brother is Not a Monster, A Story of Addiction, and a recovery and a kid's book about overdose. Welcome, Lee Verone.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Ken and Stephen and all. It's been wonderful hearing all the other readers. So my poem is called Nightmare for my son, Jose. It has an epigraph which reads, in March 2025, the president sent 238 mostly Venezuelans to El Salvador maximum security prison, SICAT. Nightmare for Jose. I try to sleep, others sleep, with no sheets, no pillows, no mattress. They are taking my son away in the night. Will I join the mothers with their worn shoes, waving white scarves? Surely I'm too old to be afraid. They shave your head, my son. Between 2 masked guards you walk, bent down, hunched over like the others who have no face. 40,000 people, no sheets, no pillows, no mattress. A place, my son, with no sunlight, held in a cell how many hours? 20, 21, 22, 23. When does fear break, crack into shards of nightmare? With your brown skin, your tattoos, they are taking you away in the night. I search for my anti-anxiety meds, but the nightmare breaks through. No sheets, no pillows, no mattress. I will join the mothers in the street.
Well, thank you, Lee. Nightmare was an important poem to us. Sandra Chavez Johnson is a poet living in Orlando, Florida. Sandra has had 2 semifinalist poems for the 2025 Red Wheelbarrow Poetry Prize. Please welcome Sandra Chavez Johnson.
Hello, thank you for that introduction. And the readers couldn't have known this, but I'm actually from Sunnyvale, California. So much of my work actually is reminiscent of my time there. This poem, not such a beautiful time, but I'd love to share the poem published in the journal, and that was a semifinalist. Things I could not forget. How the hallway tasted like soap and blame. How the beds hated to be made. Even they knew something was hidden. The way one person painted another with misfired empathy. The gravel that would jump into my throat when asked to say more. This poem is not about grief, but about swallowing water for 15 years. Despite everything asking to be forgotten, I remember the claw of my backpack when I moved in with my sister and her husband, the dread of his car door when I had no one else to call. My silence remained dark and rough, something you drag through the night. I saw everything. To reshape myself into someone I could have been, if I could have been, I dreamt days, remade myself an ocean or its waves. I carried a secret the way a child might carry. There is no metaphor here. I carried it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, I'm Cindy. I'm back. And thank you so much, Sandra. I had the privilege of being a longtime screener for Red Wheelbarrow. So it is a privilege to read poems like yours. Thank you so much. All right. I am here to introduce Joanne McFarlane, who is an interdisciplinary artist who uses text, paint, fabric, and paper to create lyrical, often politically charged pieces. Recent multimedia collections include American Graphic, winner of the 2024 Wishing Jewel Prize for Poetic Innovation from Green Linden Press, and the 2023 Experimental Poetry Award from the Connecticut Poetry Society. Psalms of Innocence will be published in September of 2026, also by Green Linden Press. Welcome, Joanne McFarlane.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cindy, for that introduction. And thank you, Ken. And it's really wonderful to start spring this way with such a warm reading. So I'm delighted to be here and be able to listen to all of this beautiful poetry. We need more poetry. So my poem is entitled Steady, and it begins with an epigraph. But I am black, as if bereaved of light. William Blake, The Little Black Boy, Songs of Innocence. Steady. I place my fist beside the vase. There, these petals soon will fall. I couldn't wait for my beauty to arrive. I went out looking. I went out looking for my prize. And soon I found I had to beg. I looked around for what wouldn't break me. The deeper I went, the blacker I got. Overcome by the quiet, I slept. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for that beautiful poem, and also for giving us something that all the readers have given us so far, which is something that as a screener, after reading these poems and having them live rent-free in my mind for the better part of a year, let me just say that it is so incredible to hear them in the poet's own voice. Finally, we're as a screener, we're reading, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of poems. And it's one thing for a poem to stand out when you just read one poem. But when you have read 100 poems in a row and it's, 2 in the morning and a poem still finds a way to stand out as yours did, as all of the finalists did, as the winning poems did, that's really something. And I just want to say to you, Joanne, but then to all of the finalists and the winners specifically, it is such a pleasure to actually meet you and put a face and a name to the poem. These are some of the best poems that I've read in a long time. And so just thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I
And
agree with you about the voice because
yeah,
everyone's voice is so unique, and the poet hears their own voice in their head, and you just hope that others hear that too.
yeah. It's incredible to hear it in your own actual voice. So, yeah, thank you so much. And I'm going to keep it rolling by introducing our next poet. Sebastian Luke Butler was born and raised in Michigan. He is the author of the chapbook Sky Tongue Black Back with Light and Viscera, a finalist for the National Poetry Series and other book prizes. A former Paul Faulkner Fellow in Poetry, he reads for the Adroit Journal and lives in New York City. Please welcome Sebastian.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ken. And thank you, everyone, for being here to read and also to listen. This is a really wonderful evening. Um, my poem is called Evensong. Evensong. Along my walk, cedar waxwings bleed through cattails. Wolf spider eggs pulse rotting logs. Each year, my heart tires more while saying nothing. My synapses prune in the hands of avid landscapers I'd like to, but will never meet. I imagine they've my great grandmother's faces, their cold fingers like rain extinguishing burnt earth. That time after storm, I watched wasps rise out of their dens as smoke. It's loss, but not exactly the same as sad. How I imagine it will be when I owe nothing to anyone living. Only the dead should be able then to make a house of ruin. Past the woods, an abandoned warehouse catches dusk's light. Better than maple leaves, contains more shades. My bones grew until they didn't. Count suffering among the gifts of God, some say. There's an oak's dark hollow where we'll find each disappeared thing, weighed with loam, a basin to sift all the little oblivions. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. That was so beautiful. All right. It is my pleasure, and I hope I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, to introduce Kurt Lukes. Kurt Lukes won a 2021 James Tate Poetry Prize, the 2021 Islands Book Award for Short Stories, and the 2019 Atlanta Review Poetry Contest. He is a contributing editor to Exacting Clam. Sagging Meniscus Press published his humor collection, It's Funny Until Someone Loses an Eye, Then It's Really Funny. His poetry collections, Falling in the Direction of Up and Death, Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And his latest book, The Hybrid Tributaries, Essays and Verses Flowing from and Celebrating Favorite Poems. Kurt lives in Kalamazoo. Please welcome Kurt Lukes. Oh. Oh, I did all that for nothing.
Kurt's not here, but we'll email him and tell him how perfect you were.
Oh, shucks. Okay.
He's just not here. We didn't notice. I'm so sorry.
All
Well,
right.
so then, David, you can't
Yeah.
say thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Cindy, I'll say, for all of
Okay.
that.
All right.
Not just for that, but Cindy, so can we just have a quick virtual round of applause for Cindy? Because Cindy has been a screener for this many, many, many times. I've done it once, and that was a lot. And Cindy has done it way more than I or I think anyone else. So
Yeah, it's just a lot of work and it's very much appreciated. Okay, so let me introduce our next poet. Our next poet is Robbie Gamble, and Robbie is the author of A Can of Pinto Beans. His poems have appeared in On the Seawall, One Art, Post Road, Salamander, and The Sun. He is the poetry editor of Solstice Literary Magazine, and he divides his time between Boston and Vermont. Please welcome Robbie.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ken, and everybody who's involved in Red Wheelbarrow. It's really an honor to be a part of this celebration. So much beautiful poetry. I'm going to read. My poem is Jury Pool. Jury Pool. The gilt clock hands rotate slowly. So much time you can almost watch it extrude through solemn courtroom air. So much oak, paneling, lecterns, unforgiving benches, a forest felled and reassembled into neoclassical austerity. The defendant is a black man sitting still in a swirl of white court officials. He is practicing fierce patience, concentrating as if he holds the sole antidote to the toxin of verdict. He is charged with distributing drugs, and as I am being excused from service on unexplained grounds, this is all I will ever know of him. This and the frame of his broad shoulders rising and falling, while judge and lawyers horse trade jurors in a sidebar, assembling an optimal 12. Outside, asphalt is hot and creaky under afternoon glare, and I find my car slide back into a concourse of open possibilities, having cosplayed a citizen to segue to the briefest whit of another's life sentence. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Robbie. Next up is Ian Hall, who was born and reared in the coalfields of southeastern Kentucky. His debut collection, Creekwater Mansions, is forthcoming from Eastover Press in early 2026. He is currently a PhD candidate in poetry at Florida State University. His work is featured in Narrative Mississippi Review, the Journal, American Literary Review, and elsewhere. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you so much, Evelyn, for the introduction, and thank you to Ken and the entire Red Wheelbarrow team for having me at this wonderful soiree this evening. I really appreciate it. The poem I'm going to read tonight is from my, as I mentioned, from my forthcoming collection, Creekwater Mansions. It'll be out next month with Eastover Press, and it's available for pre-order if anybody's interested. But again, thank you for having me, and I'll read this and be out of your hair quickly. My poem is titled Elegy for Joanne Fabrics. As we speak, private equity is getting the last shred of tenderloin off the bone. Their spreadsheets and algorithms cut cleaner than any oncologist. I'm talking margins that make a cyberknife blush. Grandmas are supposed to knit and work needle, according to a jowly man in the Facebook comment corral. Now they just laze around and watch pimple-popping highlight reels. Thanks, feminism. Crying shame, another man laments. That store always smelled like those candies old church ladies kept in their big kangaroo pouch purses. Takes me right back to way back when. Midst this hypertensive talk of handheld brains and global government conspiracy, I'm thinking of the jobs lost, of the kitchen table come to Jesus moments that are looming in greater Flyoverville, of missed rent and the bite of that Cobra premium. It's more or less the same tired story. Communities gone hardscrabble, cars up on cinder block. More people know the going price of scrap than starting wages at that ghosted battery plant. A constitutional right to work state, by God. Coal miner, roughneck, linthead, all made redundant, rarefied as the dodo. And now the bell tolls for the Joanne Fabrics team member. All in a day's creative destruction. But me, I'm an optimist. Always look on the bright side. Those superstore layoffs have more time for their hobbies, listening to Dave Ramsey while they drive Uber, learning to code, grind crypto, or maybe even crochet. Thank y'all.
Okay. Is Sabrina still here? So we have one reader left, and then we have a treat for you to end the Zoom event. And of course, people can stick around and mingle. But first of all, thank you, Ian. You know, we had a Joanne Fabric right here, a few blocks on Stevens Creek, and many of my students told many stories about their mothers or grandmothers or family members who lamented the closing and the sort of corporate buyout and destruction of that beautiful store and chain of stores. Our final Zoom reader is Justin D'Alessandro, a 25-year-old writer from New Jersey. He's published 2 poetry collections, 1,000 Swimming Pools, and Dancing with Luciano, a collection of poems and writing. Justin loves storytelling in all forms. He's a poet, playwright, and screenwriter. Welcome to Justin D'Alessandro.
Thank you, Ken. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you so much for this lovely opportunity. Today, I'll be reading for you guys a poem called Lorca in Love. And with the sun, the carnations came rising, vermilion-stained, vigorous things, bore lungs to breathe the air that raised you. Gardener of my life, you emerged fully formed from the crown of your father, wise, clad in wet earth and linseed oil. Gardener of my life, hands of great work, pull the lead from inside me, pass the sepal, extricate the shrouded heart. Thank you so much.
That's a wonderful poem. And didn't you have another poem in the book too called Uncles?
I did, yes. Should I read that as well?
Well, why not?
Oh, guys, I'm back. Okay. This poem is called Uncles. The uncles, fishmen, men of fish, and men who marry to completion, men who look down, men of promise, men who hold no shame, on the outside, men with titles, my favorite son, macho, dad of the year, papa, lobo, men who love father, men put in gourds, bones of men, fish bones, fishmen, men who drink, men who say one more round before I go, men who tip over 10, men with necks, who grab necks of beer, who kiss necks, who go neck and neck with other men, who have 3 fears, losing mama, losing the family, weakness, who cause a riot, men who riot, men who revolt, men who slam, men who love their son until he is thinking about men who come home, fishmen, men of boats and oars and horses, men who bring luck, men who lick it up, men who feast, men with teeth, men who devour, tear the earth apart atom by atom and say, look what I had to do. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You waited till last, and that was kind of you, and so you had to have an extra poem. Well, so for our final, and it was beautifully done, Justin. Thanks for sending us work. How's the weather in New Jersey?
It's unfortunately still cold. We
Oh.
had a week last week where it was very warm. It was in the 70s, and
Yeah.
now we're back to like the 30s. So
I just want you to know that it's 90 degrees here today. So
oh,
that's what I'm saying.
that's so great.
Kind of. So thank you, Justin. So there's someone named in our group here, I don't know, maybe you could pull her up for the spotlight. It's Margot Guyanuk. And Margot is someone I worked with in Oaxaca, and she's zooming in from Oaxaca. She's works with a team in the women's prison there, and they do art in the prisons. And are you there, Margot? Or did I miss you? Oh, she needs to turn on her camera. Oh, maybe she's doing something else, or oh, so we can't see you, Margot. And she's muted. Oh, that's too bad. Maybe I'll just very quickly to end our event, I would like to share the screen and show you the kinds of things that she did. Oaxaca's famous for wood carving and prints on woodblock. And then, there's all kinds of political art done that way. Anyway, we have a section, we have some really long art sections in the book this time. And this one is all, I'll go ahead and do it full screen and just, it's very different from other things that are in the magazine. We've always had a philosophy of including work from incarcerated men and women, and also just like everything they get in the wheelbarrow, the diversity of voices, and not just the quote unquote professional poet with the fancy resume. So these writers and artists, Lucia Kelly, Mabel, Adriana Perla, Akepe, Concepcion, May, Fan, Piromanx, etc. They are featured here as women working in this prison and doing woodblock prints and writing about what it's miradas, kind of like looks, and but kind of gazes and masks. And I hope that when you download the book, you'll look at the kind of woodblocks they do and the writings that they have written related to them. Are you there, Margot? Well, I guess not. I was hoping she'd read one to you. And she's here, but she's not available to speak. Is she in the chat, Rob? So when you go through the book, you'll see beautiful sort of poems describing the art that they've done, and images that she and her colleagues have taken of the woodblock program there. Francesca Bell, who wasn't able to be with us tonight, also did work with embroidery at San Quentin. And it's interesting how much is going on. And even as I leave the magazine, I know the person coming next, Amy Leonard, wants to continue with publishing writings and art of incarcerated people. So she's not here, so I guess we have. Well, she's just not able to join us for whatever reason. But you'll be able to see her work, and don't forget to download the magazine through the website, which it's just called Red Wheelbarrow National Edition. Whoops. Oh, did she appear?
Yeah, she's on now.
Okay, well, do you want to say a few words, Margot? We were looking for you. We have to leave in a minute, but would you want to say a few words about your work in the prison? We just showed you're muted. We just showed went through the art quickly, and I described it. But do you have something you could say about it? We're not hearing you. Your volume needs to be up. Yeah, it's not working. Well, we've done a few international adventures tonight, and a couple of them have been great. Some of them have been more difficult. You're not the only one, Margot, but I miss you, and it's nice to see you. Margot also does all kinds of great tours and things in Oaxaca. So if you're ever going to Oaxaca, you should just get her name and
I think it's working now.
oh, it is. Just say a few,
Yes.
say a few words because we don't have much time.
Okay, I'll be quick. Thank you so much for having us as the group of the incarcerated woman, and Angel, the art teacher. We were doing some art classes in the female prison of Oaxaca, and it's the second time we have a chance to be in the Red Wheelbarrow since a couple of years ago with the men's work, now with the women's work. And we did a combo of woodblock print, of writing and photography. We chose the thematic of the looks, and the woman did an absolute great job because we just had a few sessions. And I wanted to read, if I have time, let me know. But I think the best would be to read one of their texts, if that's okay.
Which one?
It's called Piece of a Gaze. It's by Jessica. It's one of the last ones.
Okay.
Na.
There it is. Go ahead.
No, it's another one next. No. Well, anyways, I'll read it. So it's called Piece of a Gaze. It's a woman from Venezuela that traveled from Venezuela to reach the United States and was stuck in Mexico. And her text is wonderful. Piece of a Gaze. Piece of a Gaze is an internal view of my process and journey from the day I left my home with my family. It hurts to be far from home, far from my people. The memories are painful. This piece shows all the anxiety that I collected during this long trip, a pause and an explosion. The gouge and my hand merged, showing drops in every cut, low, deep, and others not so much. My emotions are revealed. Some wounds can't be seen on the surface, but they are there. They are reflected in the eyes. For example, exhausted gaze, discouraged gaze that show what I have been through. From this journey that I call the American dream, I have paid the price with internal and external wounds. My emotions lay in each line carved on my work. Jessica. So there's a lot of sadness and pain, but I think they did an absolute wonderful job to be seen through their eyes, through their text, the photography. We cannot show all of their face, but or body. But thank you so much for giving the space for this art expression of this incarcerated woman. Thank you, Ken, and thank you all the team.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Margot. And what's the name of the artist who goes in with you?
Angel Lopez.
Angel Lopez.
Yes.
The tradition of woodblock mastery in Oaxaca is phenomenal.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it really cuts to the deepest core of what we've done with the magazine is thinking about which art matters. Like, how does that text and art that you just shared with us matter any more than Emily W. Pease's beautiful poem, which is incredible, and I love it. Won the prize this year. And in my whole career, in my 70 years in the world of poetry and art and editing, I've never known the answer to that. And it's been a privilege to create a text every year that puts them both side by side. I think that Jessica's art and text and Emily's art and Gary's broadside are equally incredible. And they show what art is and what poetry is at core. And why we don't put these things side by side and celebrate them both at the same time is something I've never entirely understood. That we need to carve out these territories for one or for the other. I'd like to thank you, Margot, for being here from Oaxaca. You have a good connection.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was just missing the microphone.
And
Okay.
I miss Oaxaca. It's 90 degrees here today, though.
Yeah, it's pretty hot here. So
Oh, it is.
anybody who wants to see some art and sun is very welcome.
Well, to conclude the Zoom event, besides leaving time for you to socialize in a minute, I'd just like to remind you that, well, yeah, you can stay on until right after 7 o'clock. We'll just be able to stay on and say hi to people, but I wanted to actually share the book one last time and just remind you of a couple of things about the book, and then say goodbye. So and the reading was fantastic. So this is really about all of you and creating these communities, and what a joy. I just love all your patience and all your craft and your heart coming together for a few hours a year and in the book. So I do want to share the book this one last time, and I think I'm going to do this full screen thing. And then I just want to go to, for one thing, I want to go to a page very few of you will see, which is let me see if I can do this. It involves technical skill. The last page of the book. You see that little poem at the bottom there? It's a little poem that's good to think about today in our time. It's by Marwan Makul, a Palestinian poet, on politics and poetry. In order for me to write poetry that isn't political, I must listen to the birds. And in order to hear the birds, the warplanes must be silent. It reminds me of James McCorkle's beautiful poem about Cooper, the bird watcher in the park. And let me also go back up to the beginning of the volume, and remind you that of how great this staff is here. You met Cynthia and David. You met many of these students tonight. I'd like to give them a little round of applause. They they didn't expect to be reading so much poetry, and I love it how they did. And then also the book as a dedicated book to these wonderful poets who are no longer with us. For example, Bob Dickerson, who says in the middle there, the bugles send smoke to the skies while the cannons shake with anger. The teepees drag their feet along the river. We pray our children will find new lives, from Crazy Horse Speaks. We're going to honor Bob in a little while, and my other dear friends here who've passed away this past year. Charles O. Atkinson, I heel close hauled, beat to windward. Headwind thrums the stays, scours the mind. From Dreamer at the Helm. Or from Passing Bell for Kobun Chino Sensei, tell me we can live eyes open and know this touch is last. Let me be a membrane to caress what comes and let it pass through. So there's the poetry at beginning and end that maybe holds the book a little bit, at least for me, together in memory and in hope. And now what are we gonna do? We're gonna do something where we open it up. And
yeah, I can just redirect to.
So at this point, the event is over, but I hope, and we'll not spotlight anyone, right?
I can spotlight, just continue.
I'll go ahead and do whatever you want to do, and let's go ahead and just say hi to each other and unmute people. And
Yes.
okay. Okay, there it is. Yeah. At 7:15, we're beginning an event that's in person here in this room. And I wish you all were here. Thank you, everyone.